Admiral Duhan stood tall in his clean, pressed uniform before the Galactic Council. His weathered face showed no emotion as the alien representatives laughed at the hologram of Earth's space fleet. The massive chamber, with its high crystal ceiling and floating platforms, echoed with their mocking sounds. "These are your ships." Counselor Vex waved his long, silver hand at the display. "They still use physical projectiles." "How quaint." His mouth curved into what humans would call a smile, but it held no warmth. Duhan kept his hands behind his back, standing straight. Next to him, Ambassador Hansol adjusted her formal blue robe, her face calm despite the insults. The council chamber's bright lights reflected off the golden badges on their uniforms. "Our fleet meets our needs," Duhan said simply. He didn't add more, didn't try to defend the ships that the aliens saw as primitive. Behind him, the hologram showed Earth's vessels. Blocky, solid ships with visible gun ports and thick armor. A green-skinned council member leaned forward. "Those engines are those fusion drives. We haven't used those in 500 years. More laughter filled the chamber. Hansol stepped forward, her voice clear and steady. "We appreciate the Council's concern for our technological development. But Earth's fleet has protected our space for 100 years. Protected from what? Vex spread his arms wide. Space pirates using slingshots. Several council members had to cover their mouths to hide their grins. The smallest ship in the galactic fleet could destroy your entire armada with a single energy lance. Duhan watched as the council members showed off their own fleet's holograms. Sleek ships appeared, their hulls glowing with power. Energy weapons bristled from every surface, and their quantum drives left trails of folded space behind them. Perhaps, Vex continued, looking down at the humans, it's time Earth accepted proper guidance. We could help you scrap these museums and build real ships. Hansol bowed slightly. We thank the Council for their generous offer. However, Earth prefers to maintain its independent fleet. Independence. Another burst of laughter. You call those independent? They're relics. Duhan felt something buzz against his wrist. The small device hidden under his sleeve showed a message from Captain G1. Unusual readings near ARCTURUS gate. Multiple signatories. Council ships. Noti RESP ONDING to warnings. He kept his face blank as Vex continued to mock Earth's ships. Let them laugh. Let them think Earth's fleet was obsolete. Let them believe humans were stubborn primitives who couldn't let go of old technology. If the Council has no other matters to discuss, Hansol said smoothly, we should return to our duties. Yes, yes. Vex waved them away. Go back to your museum pieces. Try not to let them fall apart on your way home. As they walked out of the chamber, Duhan heard one final burst of laughter. Hansol waited until they were in their private shuttle before speaking. They're still not taking us seriously, she said. Duhan looked at the message on his wrist again. Good, he replied. Because something's coming, and their precious energy weapons might not be enough to stop it. Hansol nodded, understanding in her eyes. Sometimes, the old ways weren't just tradition. Sometimes, they were survival. Captain Jaiwan stared at the sensor readings on the bridge of the ESS Dauntless. The primitive screen showed clear patterns that worried her. She had watched these strange energy spikes grow stronger over the past 3 hours. Lieutenant Ta Yang, she called to her sensor officer, show me those readings again. The young lieutenant brought up the display on the main screen. Red dots pulsed near the Arcturus Gate, a massive ring-shaped structure that allowed ships to travel between star systems. The dots were getting bigger. Ma'am, I've sent 5 messages to the galactic patrol ships, Tai Yang said. He pointed to 3 sleek alien vessels floating nearby. Their beautiful ships glowed with blue energy, but they weren't doing anything useful. They say our sensors must be malfunctioning. They claim their advanced systems show nothing wrong. Jai-1 walked to the front window of her bridge. The Dauntless looked plain and boring next to the alien ships. Its hull was thick and gray, with big gun ports that the aliens thought were silly. But Jai-1 knew better. "Show me the patrol ship captain again," she ordered. A screen lit up, showing a purple-skinned alien with silver eyes. "Captain Kivalgir, please stop sending us warning messages. Your outdated equipment is clearly confused." Jai-1 kept her voice calm. "Captain, we've tracked 27 energy spikes in the last hour. They match no known ship patterns. Something is coming through that gate." "How cute," Keval smiled. "Your sensors can count to 27. Our quantum arrays show nothing but normal gate activity. Perhaps you should return to Earth and get your equipment checked." The alien captain ended the call. G1 turned to her crew. They all wore simple uniforms with few decorations, but their eyes showed they were ready for anything. "Sound general quarters," she ordered. "Wake up our special systems." Warning lights flashed as the crew moved to battle stations. Deep inside the Dauntless, machines that looked old and basic hummed to life. But underneath their plane covers, something very different waited. New reading. Tai Yang shouted. "The gate, it's activating." The massive space gate lit up with strange colors. The 3 galactic patrol ships finally turned to look. Jai-1 watched as their crews probably checked their fancy sensors for the first time. "Galactic ships are powering up weapons," her tactical officer reported. "They're finally seeing it too." "Send a message to Admiral Duhan," Jai-1 ordered. "Tell him we have confirmed unknown contact. Multiple signatures, and..." She paused as new data appeared. "They're not using any normal drive systems." The gate's light grew brighter. G1 felt the deck plates vibrate under her feet as the Dauntless's hidden systems came fully online. The ship might look simple on the outside, but she knew what really waited behind those primitive gun ports. "Galactic ships are hailing us," Tai Yang said. "They sound worried." "Of course they are," Jai-1 replied. "Their sensors just woke up." She straightened her uniform. "Tell them we're standing by to assist. And power up our kinetic batteries. Something tells me we're going to need the old ways very soon." Through the bridge window, the gate pulsed one final time. Whatever was coming, humanity's obsolete fleet was ready. The aliens were about to learn that sometimes looking primitive was the smartest way to be prepared. They came through the gate like shards of dark crystal. Hundreds of ships, each one looking like it was carved from black stone. They moved in perfect formation, their surfaces gleaming under the starlight. "What are those things?" Captain Keval's voice shook as he called the Dauntless. The alien captain didn't sound proud anymore. Lieutenant Tai Yang studied his sensor readings carefully. "Captain Jai-1, these ships, they're made of some kind of living crystal. They're silicon-based life forms." The 3 galactic patrol ships fired their energy weapons. Beautiful beams of blue light shot out, hitting the crystal ships directly. But nothing happened. The beams just bounced off or got absorbed into the dark surfaces. "Impossible," Keval shouted. "Our weapons aren't having any effect." Jai-1 watched as more crystal ships poured through the gate. "Lieutenant, full scan. Find me a weakness." Tai Yang's fingers flew over his console. The Dauntless's primitive sensors gathered data that the alien ships had missed. "Their outer shell is like a grown crystal, ma'am. Energy weapons just get scattered or absorbed. But," he smiled, "physical impacts might shatter them." "You mean our old-fashioned guns might actually work?" Jae-1 allowed herself a small smile. "Send this data to Admiral Duhan. And get me Kival again." The purple-skinned captain appeared on screen, looking much less confident than before. Behind him, his crew ran around in panic. "Captain Kival," Jai-1 said calmly, "I suggest you pull your ships back. Let us try something." "Let you try? What can your outdated weapons do if our advanced?" A crystal ship fired at one of the galactic patrol ships. A beam of dark energy cut through their shields like they weren't there. The beautiful alien ship's hull cracked, and its crew had to evacuate in escape pods. All hands, battle stations, HFY ordered. Load the kinetic batteries. Real shells, not the display rounds we usually show the aliens. The Dauntless shuddered as hidden panels opened along its hull. What had looked like simple gun ports transformed, revealing much more advanced weapons underneath. The crew moved with practiced speed, all pretense of being primitive forgotten. "Mom," Tai Yang called out. "Admiral Duhan sends word. The human fleet is responding. All ships are dropping their disguise protocols. We're clear to engage." HFY nodded. She opened a channel to all nearby ships, alien and human alike. "This is Captain G1 of the Earth ship Dauntless. To all galactic vessels, clear the combat zone. We will handle this threat." "You'll handle it." Keevil laughed, but it was a nervous sound. "With projectile weapons." HFY didn't bother to answer. "Target the lead crystal ship. Show them what primitive really means." The Dauntless fired. But these weren't the simple shells the aliens had mocked. These were quantum-enhanced kinetic rounds, accelerated by magnetic fields that humans had pretended not to understand. They moved at speeds that made light look slow. The lead crystal ship shattered into 1,000,000 pieces. All ships, alien and crystal alike, stopped moving for a moment. HFY stood from her chair, watching the debris float in space. "Send word to all human ships," she ordered. "Weapons free. Show them what Earth's museum pieces can really do." The battle for Arcturus Gate was about to begin, and humanity's obsolete fleet was the galaxy's only hope. Chief Engineer Yoon. He walked through the secret base beneath Luna's surface. Behind her, a small group of shocked galactic representatives followed. Their fancy clothes looked out of place in the plain metal hallway. "Impossible," one of them whispered. "All this was here the whole time." Yoon stopped at a large window overlooking a massive room. Below them, workers assembled weapons that looked simple on the outside but held amazing technology inside. "Welcome to Project Legacy," she said. "This is where we build our primitive weapons." Ambassador Hansol stood beside her, watching the aliens' faces. "After first contact, we knew the galaxy would judge us by how advanced our technology looked. So we made a choice to look weak." Asked Counselor Vex. He wasn't laughing anymore. Not after seeing the crystal ships destroy 3 of his best vessels. Yoon pressed a button, and the window turned into a screen. It showed diagrams of Earth's ships. "Our rail guns aren't simple metal tubes. They're powered by micro-singularity generators. The shells aren't just metal. They're quantum-locked projectiles that ignore most laws of physics." She changed the display. Now it showed the thick armor of human ships. "This isn't just steel. It's layered with dark matter channels and gravity plates. Your scans couldn't see past the outer layer because we didn't want them to." The aliens watched as she revealed more secrets. Their eyes got wider with each new discovery. One of them had to sit down. "But why?" Vex asked. "Why hide all this?" Hansol answered, "Because the galaxy teaches its children to throw away old technology, to always chase the newest thing. But humanity learned a different lesson." Yoon nodded. "We learned to keep what works, to improve it in secret, to mix old and new in ways nobody expects." She pointed to a nearby workbench where a worker was building a gun. "That rail gun can fire simple metal shells if needed, but it can also shoot quantum rounds that could crack a planet." "The crystal ships," one alien said. "You knew something like them might come." "We didn't know what would come," Hansol replied. "We just knew that depending on only one type of technology was dangerous. Energy weapons are wonderful, until you meet something immune to energy." Yoon led them to another room. Inside, they saw the true heart of a human ship's engine. It looked like a simple fusion drive on the outside, but inside, it bent space in ways that made the aliens gasp. "Right now," she said, "Captain HFY is showing the galaxy why keeping old weapons wasn't stupid. But this isn't about proving we're smart. She turned to face the aliens. This is about survival. And if we want to survive those crystal ships, we need to work together. You want us to? Vex struggled with the words. Learn from humans? No, Hansol said kindly. We want to teach each other. Your energy weapons and our kinetic ones. Your quantum drives and our fusion ones. Together. Yoon-hee's computer beeped. A message from the battle appeared. The crystal ships are breaking through at Arcturus, she read. It's time to decide, counselors. Will you keep thinking we're primitive? Or will you help us save the galaxy? The aliens looked at each other. Outside the window, another primitive weapon took shape, ready to show the galaxy what humanity's old ways could really do. Admiral Duhan stood on the bridge of his flagship as the crystal ships broke through the Arcturus defense line. Behind him, Captain Kivel and two other alien commanders watched in silence. They had come aboard after their ships were damaged. All ships, this is Admiral Duhan. He spoke into the fleet communication system. Drop the masks. Show them what Earth can really do. Across space, human ships transformed. Hidden panels opened. False armor fell away. What had looked old and clumsy became sleek and deadly. The ESS Dauntless led the change, its hull now glowing with power that the aliens had never seen before. Impossible, Kivel whispered. Those energy readings, they're stronger than our best ships. Duhan nodded to his weapons officer. Target the crystal ship formation. Show them a real railgun. The flagship's main gun charged up. Inside it, a tiny black hole spun faster and faster, contained by fields that humans had pretended not to understand. When it fired, the shell moved so fast it left a trail of bent space behind it. The shot hit the middle of the crystal ship formation. A sphere of broken space expanded from the point of impact, shattering 30 ships at once. The pieces sparkled like dark snow in the starlight. By the stars, one alien commander said, "What was that?" Quantum-enhanced kinetic round, Duhan explained. The kind of weapon you thought was too simple to be useful. The Dauntless moved forward, its own weapons firing. Each shot broke more crystal ships. The enemy tried to fight back, their dark energy beams seeking targets, but the human ship's real armor absorbed or deflected the attacks. "Admiral," his sensor officer called out, "the crystal ships are changing formation. They're retreating." Duhan watched as the enemy pulled back. Their perfect formation was broken now. Some ships seemed to shake, as if their crystal bodies were trembling. They're afraid, Kivel realized. These beings, they've never faced weapons that could hurt them before. The human fleet pressed forward. Each ship showed its true power now. Railguns fired shells that ignored physics. Armor absorbed energy that should have destroyed it. Engines moved ships in ways that made the aliens' best drives look slow. "This is why we kept the old ways," Duhan told the alien commanders. "This is why we mixed them with new ones, because somewhere out there, we knew we'd find enemies that energy weapons couldn't stop." A message came in from Earth. Ambassador Hansol's face appeared on the screen. "Admiral, the Galactic Council has seen our true technology. They're offering full alliance status and technology exchange." "A bit late for that," Duhan said, but he smiled slightly. "Tell them we accept. We'll need to work together to face what's coming." "What do you mean, what's coming?" Kivel asked. Duhan pointed to the retreating crystal ships. "Those beings aren't explorers or raiders. They're running from something. Something that scared them enough to attack us first." He turned to face the alien commanders. "And when that something arrives, we'll need every weapon, old and new, to fight it." The human fleet regrouped, their true power now visible to all. The galaxy had laughed at their obsolete ships. Now those same ships had saved everyone. And soon, they would be needed again. Commander Sun Mi's strike team of 5 ships moved through the debris field left by the battle. Her ship, the Swift Strike, led the way. They had dropped their fake outer shells, And now the ships looked like what they really were, advanced hunters. Target group spotted, her sensor officer reported. 12 crystal ships trying to circle around our fleet. Sunma smiled. The enemy thought they were being clever, but they didn't know about her team's special equipment. The humans had hidden their best stealth technology behind fake heat leaks and radiation signatures. All ships, weapons hot, she ordered. Show them why humans still believe in hitting hard and fast. The strike team's ships spread out in attack formation. Each one carried special weapons designed by Chief Engineer Yoon-hee. They looked like normal rail guns, but inside they held technology that mixed old and new in ways that shocked even the galactic engineers. Enemy ships haven't spotted us, the tactical officer said. Their crystal structure blocks their own sensors just like it blocks energy weapons. Sunma leaned forward in her command chair. Fire control, target their joint points. Those crystals may be strong, but everything has a weak spot. The swift strike fired first. Its main gun shot a round that looked simple but carried a quantum charge inside. The shell hit a crystal ship right where two crystal plates met. The quantum charge activated, and the enemy ship cracked like ice in warm water. All ships, open fire, Sunma commanded. Don't let them call for help. The space around them lit up with weapons fire. The strike team's shells hit target after target. Crystal ships shattered, their pieces spinning away into space. The enemy tried to fight back, but their dark energy weapons couldn't lock onto ships they couldn't properly see. Mom, her communications officer called out. We're getting a signal from one of the crystal ships. It's trying to surrender. Sunma straightened in her chair. This was new. Can we talk to them? A strange voice came through the speakers. It sounded like breaking glass. Please, stop. We didn't know you had the old weapons, the strong weapons. Why did you attack us? Sunma asked. Running from the darkness. Thought your worlds would make good hiding places. Energy weapons don't hurt us, so we thought we were safe. But you kept the crystal breakers, the hard kinetics. Sunma shared a look with her bridge crew. What darkness? What are you running from? The crystal being made a sound like chiming bells. They come. They eat everything. Energy weapons make them stronger. We ran, but you have the old ways. Maybe you can fight. The transmission cut off as the crystal ship's structure finally gave way, cracking apart from the damage it had taken. Sunma quickly opened a channel to Admiral Duan. Admiral, you need to hear this. The crystal ships, they're refugees, and what they're running from. She paused, looking at the broken crystal ships around her. Sir, I think we're going to need more than just rail guns for what's coming. As her strike team regrouped, Sunma wondered what kind of enemy could scare beings made of living crystal. Whatever it was, she was glad humans had kept their old weapons. They were going to need every trick, every technology, and every advantage they could get. Ambassador Hansol walked into the Galactic Council chamber again, but everything was different now. The aliens didn't laugh or smile with mock politeness. Instead, they looked at her with respect and maybe a little fear. The human fleet saved us all, Councillor Vex said. His silver hand shook slightly as he spoke. We owe you an apology. And more than that, we need your help. Chief Engineer Yoon, he stood next to Hansol, carrying a large data pad. On it were designs for weapons that mixed human and alien technology. The council members leaned forward, eager to see. Earth offers a full technology exchange, Hansol said. But this time, we work as equals. No more looking down on primitive methods. The council chamber was quiet as Yoon-hee showed the first design. It was a new kind of ship that used both energy weapons and railguns. The aliens gasped when they saw how the two systems worked together. Your energy weapons are powerful, Yoon-hee explained, but they have weaknesses. Our kinetic weapons have different weaknesses. Together, they cover for each other. A green-skinned council member raised his hand. But why did you hide your true technology? Why pretend to be less advanced? Hansol smiled. Because we learned something from Earth's history. When two cultures meet, the one that looks stronger often stops learning. They become proud, fixed in their ways. She looked around the chamber. Sound familiar? The aliens shifted uncomfortably in their seats. They knew she was talking about them. We wanted you to underestimate us, he added. But we also wanted to learn from you. And we did. We took your quantum science and mixed it with our primitive weapons. We studied your energy systems and found ways to combine them with our engines. Vex stood up. And now you offer to share this knowledge. After we mocked you. The crystal ships were running from something worse, Hansol said. Commander Sunmi's report makes that clear. We'll need every advantage to face what's coming. She pressed a button, and a new hologram appeared. It showed Earth ships training with galactic vessels. The human ships now proudly showed their true technology, no longer hiding behind false covers. Your ships will learn to use kinetic weapons, he explained. Our ships will add more energy weapons. Together, we'll be stronger than either of us alone. The council members talked among themselves. Then Vex spoke for them all. We accept. Earth will have a full seat on the council. Your ships will train our crews. And he seemed to struggle with the words. We will learn to respect the old ways. Hansol nodded. As she looked around the chamber, she saw hope in the aliens' eyes. They had learned an important lesson. Sometimes the old ways weren't just tradition. Sometimes they were the key to survival. Admiral Duhan's fleet is already preparing training exercises, she said, and Captain J1's crew is working with your engineers to upgrade the first galactic ship with rail guns. The council chamber filled with excited talk as the aliens discussed the changes to come. Hansol watched them with satisfaction. Humanity had kept their secrets, stayed patient, and now they would help lead the galaxy into a new age. But in the back of her mind, she wondered about the darkness that had scared the crystal ships. Whatever it was, at least now they would face it together. Captain J1 and Lieutenant Tai Yang stood in a special room aboard the Dauntless. Before them, trapped in a strong containment field, floated a piece of one of the crystal ships. It still glowed with a faint inner light. The crystal beings left this message for us, Tai Yang said, adjusting some controls. But it took time to understand their language. The crystal shard pulsed with light, and a voice like wind chimes filled the room. Humans who keep the old weapons, hear our warning. We run from the Devourers. They come from the space between galaxies. They eat energy, grow stronger from your advanced weapons. We thought we were strong enough to fight. We were wrong. Jai-1 watched as the crystal showed them images. Massive dark shapes moved between stars, absorbing everything in their path. Energy weapons fired at them only made them bigger and stronger. How many crystal ships survived? She asked. Only 37. Tai Yang answered. They've asked for shelter in human space. They say our weapons are their only hope. The crystal's message continued. The Devourers fear only the old ways. Solid matter hurts them. Physical impacts break their bodies. But we forgot how to make such weapons. We thought energy was the future. We were foolish. New images showed the Devourers destroying whole worlds. They weren't just big. They were planet-sized. Normal ships looked like tiny dots next to them. Send this to Admiral Duhan right away, Jai-1 ordered. And get me Chief Engineer Uni. We need to make our weapons bigger, much bigger. Tai Yang worked quickly at his console. Then he stopped, his face pale. Captain, look at these readings. The Devourers aren't just coming. They're already at the edge of our galaxy. The crystal pulsed again. We tried to warn the galaxy. But they called us primitive for running. Called us cowards for wanting to use physical weapons. Now you understand why we attacked. We needed your worlds, your resources. We were desperate. Jai-1 touched the containment field gently. And now you'll help us fight them. Yes, the crystal chimed. We will teach you how to grow ships from living crystal. You will teach us how to make weapons that can hurt the Devourers. Together, perhaps we have a chance." Tai Yang looked up from his console. "Captain, Admiral Duhan, and the Galactic Council are calling an emergency meeting. They want us there, and they want to bring this crystal shard." Jai-1 nodded. "Tell the crystal beings we accept their help, and inform engineering to start designing bigger railguns. If these Devourers want to eat our galaxy," she smiled grimly, "they'll learn that some meals fight back." As they prepared to leave, the crystal showed one last image. It was a vision of human ships, covered in living crystal armor, firing massive kinetic weapons at the dark shapes between the stars. Old technology and new, working together. "The galaxy laughed at us for keeping the old ways," Jai-1 said quietly. "Now those old ways might be all that stands between us and the end of everything." The crystal pulsed in agreement. The real war was about to begin, and humanity's obsolete fleet would lead the fight. Admiral Duhan stood once again before the Galactic Council, but this time things were very different. Behind him floated a crystal being, its surface glowing with friendly light. Next to him stood Commander Sunmei, wearing a new uniform that showed both human and galactic rank symbols. "The combined fleet is ready," Duhan reported. "Our ships now carry both energy and kinetic weapons. The crystal beings have helped us grow living armor for our vessels." The chamber's main screen showed the new fleet. Human ships now proudly displayed their true technology, their hulls partly covered in growing crystal. Galactic ships carried rail guns alongside their energy weapons, and among them flew the restored crystal ships, their dark surfaces now glowing with hope instead of fear. "3 months ago, you laughed at our obsolete fleet," Duhan reminded them. "Today, those same weapons may save us all." Counselor Vex stood up. He wore a simple metal badge on his robes, a human railgun crossed with an energy lance. Many council members now wore the same symbol. "We have learned much from humans," Vex said. "The old ways and the new ways working together. Our pride nearly doomed us all. But now," he smiled, "now we are ready." Commander Sunmei stepped forward. "The first Devourer has been spotted near the Perseus Arm. My strike team will lead the attack. We've named the mission Operation Legacy, to honor both what we kept and what we learned." The crystal being chimed softly. "Our worlds are gone, but you have given us new hope. The Devourers thought us weak for running. They will learn that we found strength instead." Duhan touched the new insignia on his own uniform, a crystal wrapped around Earth's ancient anchor symbol. "The next battle won't be humans against aliens or old technology against new. It will be all of us together, using every weapon and trick we have." The council chamber's lights dimmed as a new message appeared on the main screen. Captain J1's face looked serious as she reported from the front lines. "The Devourer is changing course," she said. "It's noticed our fleet. Our energy sensors show it's bigger than anything the crystal beings warned us about. This is a full-grown one." Duhan nodded to Commander Sunmei. "Launch Operation Legacy. Show them what humanity's museum pieces can do when we work together." The screen split to show the combined fleet moving into position. Human ships with crystal armor led the way. Galactic ships formed up behind them, their new rail guns gleaming. And between them flew the crystal ships, no longer running, ready to fight. For too long, the galaxy forgot something important, Duhan told the council. "The future isn't about throwing away the past. It's about learning from it, growing with it." He turned to watch the fleet, his fleet, prepare for the greatest battle in galaxy's history. Humanity had kept their old ways, hidden their true strength, and now those choices would make the difference between survival and extinction. "The Devourers think they can eat our galaxy," Duhan smiled. "Let's show them that some meals are too tough to swallow." The combined fleet jumped to the light speed, ready to face the darkness between the stars. The age of division was over. The real war was about to begin.